Hi, I'm Halie Mendenhall.
Hello, Alexandria Rodriguez.
Hi, I'm Madison, Butchin.
And I'm Samira, Adili, and we will be talking about first language acquisition for newborns with cochlear implants.
Hi, I'm Halie, and I'll be speaking for Alexandria on what first language acquisition is and the schedule that it follows. So first language acquisition has a few basic requirements, including the child having the ability to process and produce language cognitively, and also having interaction with people who already are fluent in that language, according to Yule. Input is a language the child is exposed to, which could include baby talk or caregiver speech, which is when an adult simplifies phrases and changes the tone of their voice when speaking to a child. Cueing is the earliest speech sound that happens within the first few months of the baby's life. Babbling happens next, generally between 6 and 8 months. An example of babbling is da da da. And within the few next months, after a child begins babbling, they can combine syllable sequences such as ba da, ba da. Next comes the one-word stage, which happens between 12 and 18 months. These one-word requests such as milk or ball are also called hollow phrases, which means a single form used as a phrase or sentence. The two-word stage generally occurs before the child is 2. In this stage, the child usually has over a 50-word vocabulary and uses many combinations of those words. Telegraphic speech happens at about 2.5, and it's when the word combinations exceed 2-word phrases and create what is closer to a complete idea.
My name is Samira, and I'll be discussing the basis for language acquisition in congenitally deaf infants with discriminant vowel length in the first months after cochlear implantation. According to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, individuals with a profound sensory hearing loss of less than 90 decibels are able to regain access to hearing via cochlear implant. This neuroprosthesis bypasses the dysfunctioning inner ear by delivering the sound of an external microphone directly to the auditory nerve via electric stimulation. Children with implants can master first language acquisition in 3 ways, one of which is when a child is finally implanted with a cochlear device, they come across first linguistic stimuli. The second way is if a child's development may not be as fast as it should be because of how long they've been deaf or degraded input from the implant, or development may be faster since the cochlear implant makes up for the time lost without hearing. Prerequisites for the first language acquisition include segmentation, which is a crucial step for first language acquisition. According to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, segmentation is aided by extracting auditory cues like vowel lengthening, stress patterns, and phonotactics that may signal the onset and offset of a word. Furthermore, mismatch negativity, or MMN, is used for auditory perception and the discrimination of acoustic features. According to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, the MMN is an electrophysiological component that is elicited whenever a stimulus deviates from a regular auditory pattern. The MMN is found by subtracting the standard stimulus from the deviating stimulus, which then results in the difference wave. MMN is a good candidate for studying the tone and phonemes of infants. The study noted that throughout the first month of cochlear implant use, there was an increase of MMN. According to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, the purpose of this study was to examine how acoustic discrimination of vowel length develops during the first 8 months after cochlear implant activation in congenitally deaf infants and young children who are in the sensitive phase of language acquisition. The method had 17 children who participated, and after implantation, all children entered the rehabilitation program at the Saxonian Cochlear Implant Center, which is a hospital in Dresden, Germany. The children had received a bi-monthly fitting of the speech processor and multidisciplinary speech and language therapy for up to 3 years. The first activation of the implant ranged from 11 to 45 months, and the children were required to wear the speech processor for as many hours as they were awake every day. Table 3 displays the EEG recordings that were performed in the study and consists of the number of patients and the age and months they were during first week of initial activation, and so on. Referring to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, each deviant condition was compared to the standard condition of the same block, which was within block MMN, and the standard condition with the same physical properties across block MMN had resulted in 4 comparisons. long deviant short standard, long deviant long standard, short deviant long standard, and short deviant short standard.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm going to talk about the results in the summary. The purpose of the study was to assess the auditory discriminative abilities of congenitally deaf children after cochlear implants and how these abilities evolve within the few months of hearing. According to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, results show that already 2 months after the first hearing experience, the children with the implants are differing in vowel length. This can be seen in the within block MNN differences waves of LDSS, which is long deviant short standard, and SDLS, which is short deviant short standard. And the difference was of LDSS, there is a negativity that becomes significant with hearing experience and is prominent in the normal hearing controls. In the wave SDLS, there is a positivity that emerges over time and reaches significant in both the implanted children and the controls. After a brief period of adaptation to the new modality, development progresses at full speed. Implanted children do not start like newborns who demonstrate tone duration discrimination already at birth. And the summary is, the study demonstrated that features essential for language acquisition like vowel length of syllables are available to congenitally deaf children already 2 months after first activation of the implant. Ability to discriminate syllable length reaches age-appropriate values only 4 months after the first auditory input. And early implanted children quickly catch up on basic auditory elements of language, making up for lesser hearing experience before the implants. Studies focusing on MMN should always consider whether their claimed effect is a cross-block MMN, or rather the detection of a differentiate coding of physical properties.
I'm Halie, and I'm going to be talking about how cochlear implants relate to the real world. In reference to the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, cochlear implanted children experience the same amount of sound waves as normal hearing children only 4 months after implantation. So that means the same amount of sound will be entering their ears even though it won't be perceived in the same way. So the earlier the child receives a cochlear implant, the better, because it allows for an important basis of hearing acquisition. A great benefit of cochlear implants is localization, which is the ability to hear sound and know what direction it's coming from, which helps secure the safety of a child. Bilateral cochlear implantation helps with the ease of listening, which leads to a better quality of life. Bilateral cochlear implantation also helps with balance and understanding of one's position in space. So it helps children to feel more comfortable walking and also listening to a speaker.
I'm Madison, and I'm going to be talking about the data and pictures that are shown in the journal entry. Table 1 shows the existing studies investigating acoustic discrimination in cochlear implantation children using the MMN. The MMN is the electrophysiological component that is elicited whenever a stimulus deviates from a regular auditory pattern. Then we have Table 2 that details for implanted children entering the final analysis. This table shows the remaining 17 children that received bilateral CLs, 13 in a simultaneous surgical intervention, and 4 sequentially. Then we have Table 3 that was explained in a previous slide, but it's not all recording could be obtained from each child due to the illness and restlessness of the child, as we can see in this table. Then we have Table 4, which is the number of accepted child per group and condition. This is the mean number of accepted trials. In the first figure, it shows the stimuli and paradigm. Syllable BA with long and short vowel. It is adapted from neural manifestation of cognitive and precognitive mismatch detection in early infancy. In the second figure, we see the different wave resulting from the subtracting the short standard syllable from the co-occurring long deviant syllable. Shows a clear pattern of a negative peak occurring over time. In the third figure, it is a comparison of the difference wave long deviant versus short standard of implanted children. In the A part before the implantation, and B with 4 months of hearing experience with their respective control groups. It shows by 4 months of implant use, the different wave pattern is remarkably similar to that of a normal hearing peer. In Figure 4, the ERPs and different waves of the stimuli presented in the same block, short deviant syllable versus the long standard syllable at electrode SC for implanted and normal hearing children. Contrasting the stimuli of the other block reveals the opposite pattern rather than one prominent negativity. There is an emerging positive deflection by 2 negative peaks. In Figure 5, here the same physical stimulus is compared across blocks, meaning the ERPs of the long syllable being the deviant as opposed to being the standard condition for contrasting. In Figure 7, it shows a different wave of LD versus SD, practically mirroring that of long deviant short standard, suggesting that any effect of the LD SS contrast is mainly due to the difference in physical properties.
Here we go, it's coming back on, and he's back on again. See how he turns?
Hi, Jonathan.
Stop the sucking.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good.
That's
Could you
real good.
hear that? Hi, sweetie. Could you hear that? Hi. Hi.
You got that, Dad, right? Mm-hmm.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi.
We call that a late Christmas present.
Hi. Good job, buddy.
That's really good.
Is it on?
Genevieve. 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 You can go up by like 10. Genevieve.
Do you hear that? Genevieve? I think it's Houston.
Genevieve.
Genevieve, I love you.
What you doing back there? Oh. Go ahead and give us another clap back there.
Hold on, it's not on yet. Oh, it fell off. It turned off. 1 second.
Genevieve. What?
Well, you're not giving us very much indication, but you're sure very still. Is that all you're going to tell us?
Hi.
Hi. Who is it?
Genevieve.
Mama